Loaded. This is your host, JC Cornell, with Samer Ali, as always. Samer, where can they find us?
You can find us on this amazing YouTube channel, youtube.com/@the813TV, but also, and more importantly, find us on this brand new website, the 813 Network, which is www.the813.tv. You'll find Fully Loaded, you'll find Loose Cannons, you'll find Inside the 813, three massive Buccaneers-based shows, and also, you'll find a ton of video and written content about your favorite team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So check that site out, give it, a little browse, check out the awesome written articles we have by a ton of cool creators that we have on our team, and of course, JC's writing a little bit, and myself out there getting a little journalistic for you guys, trying to be press, okay? Obviously not doing it great, but hey, it's almost Monday night, JC. It's almost Monday night.
Yeah,
baby.
Ravens coming into town for Monday Night Football. This is going to be a true test for the Buccaneers. Both teams sit at 4-2. Lots of weapons on both sides of these offenses, and a weapon for each of these teams, their offensive coordinators. Liam Cohen on the Bucs, Todd Monken for the Ravens. These are both two top 10 offenses in the NFL. Samer, this could be another shootout for the Bucs. Not that we want to see a shootout, but it could lean in that direction.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be an old school physical type of game on the field, but it'll also have fireworks. So it's going to be very physical in the trenches. I think both teams are pretty good on both sides of the ball as it relates to the trenches, but it's going to still lead to points. And I agree. I mean, this could be like a 35-41, 35-27, just, relatively low but high scoring at the same time. But yeah, man, I mean, the weapons are all over the field on both sides. Liam Cohen is a madman. We're starting to learn. Obviously, Todd Monken's got a ton of stuff to play with. He's got Lamar Jackson, one of the most electric, or maybe the most electric player in the NFL right now. So it's going to lead to points regardless, but it's going to be a lot of that physical upfront stuff that allows those things to happen.
And I'm going to get into the numbers in a second, but this is interesting because when the Bucs were looking for a new offensive coordinator, when good old Dave Canales departed for Carolina, Todd Monken was on top of that list. And Todd chose the Baltimore Ravens, who right now are the number one offense in the NFL, averaging 453.7 yards per game. And for Liam Cohen, I think we made the right decision. Todd, obviously, running the best NFL offense, but Liam's just been awesome for us and really fits well with Baker. The Bucs right now, 367.2 yards per game. Interesting, though, both of these teams lead the NFL with 21 touchdowns scored on each offense.
But the Bucs are the number one offense in terms of scoring points. But I think some of that also is weird. It goes from the defense. But yeah, man, I think Liam is definitely the better fit for the team, only because he understands what Baker likes to do. He's worked with Baker. He's able to carry over more of what we had with Dave, obviously from the base level up. But he's found himself a good mix here. He's found himself some chemistry with these guys. And I think last week he learned a little bit, like we talked about on the earlier show this week, about how to run the ball, how to use some of these guys in that run game, and how to not force, squares into square pegs in a sort, whatever that phrase is, in terms of running zone when you shouldn't run zone, and running duo and gap and the counter runs, which have been ridiculously successful. And of course that pony package at 21 personnel, where the Bucs, I think, are the best across the NFL when they're in that formation, in that package. They are nearly impossible to stop. And I expect Liam to kind of lean into that even more as the season goes on.
It should be interesting. Rachaad White will return for this game. So we have the three-headed monster. I want to see, Todd Bowles mentions we're going to go with the hot hand. Who's the hot hand right now? Clearly Sean Tucker and Bucky Irving, but we'll see if Rachaad goes on the field first and takes those starting reps. That should be interesting. But let's get to the main matchup, the main heavyweight fight, which is Baker Mayfield versus Lamar Jackson, both having MVP type seasons. Baker just came out with a Bud Light commercial. He's getting back into the commercials. He's getting popular again. People are realizing that he's back. Baker is back. And, people hated on his commercials earlier in his career, but I think they're fun, man. I think he's a natural actor in these commercials. But Baker versus Lamar. Lamar right now, 1,529 yards passing, 10 touchdowns through the air, 695 on the ground with 5 touchdowns on the ground. Baker, 1,489 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. 136 rushing yards for Baker, which is almost going to be his career high if he stays on what he's been doing, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. This really is, like I said, this is an MVP matchup of quarterbacks in this league. It could go down to the wire this whole season. How are you feeling about it?
What's funny is if up until, he had 1 pick last week, and I really count against him, but he had 2 more on top of that. So he was kind of on the same trajectory as Baker. We could have had, 3 interceptions versus 2 interceptions in this game. Listen, this reminds me of like the Heisman games that you used to get in college football, where we'd have 2 Heisman finalists or 2 guys that are kind of fighting for that trophy, and they'd match up, whether it was Texas and OU, things like that. And this feels like that. By the way,
real quick, I'm pretty sure Baker won the Heisman over Lamar Jackson. Weren't they all sitting there for that Heisman trophy?
So I was gonna think that too, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. But
that might be a video we could insert into this.
Maybe just have him holding the trophy and what's the name of the site? No,
when he stands up.
This is definitely a game. I wrote about it on the 813.tv about how this is a golden opportunity for Baker these next few games to go toe to toe and show that he belongs with these guys, belongs with the Patrick Mahomes, the Brock Purdy's, the Lamar Jacksons of the world, and, reestablish himself as a guy. Right now, people are like, oh, he's good but what, No, screw that. Let's get in there and prove that we belong in this. And this is Baker versus Lamar on Monday night. It's going to be Lamar doing what he does best, Baker doing what he does best. And it's going to come down to these 2 guys carrying their team across the finish line, who doesn't make the mistake, who's able to kind of keep drives alive. Lamar's got over 400 yards rushing, but Baker has used his legs effectively, maybe more effective than any other quarterback not named Lamar Jackson. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Josh Allen in that regard, because not a lot of it is by design, but he does make things happen with his legs. But man, it's all about the passing game with these 2 guys. Absolute studs right now. Lamar Jackson throwing the ball ridiculously well. Only 2 picks says something. They started out slow. They're hot right now. They're running the ball well. They're doing a lot of good things. But Baker versus Lamar on Monday Night Football. This feels like the premier matchup so far in the season on TV.
Oh, for sure. Sure. It's the premier matchup. These are some big names. Also, we have Derrick Henry, who I'm just going to keep reading the stats. 704 yards on the ground and 8 touchdowns. He's one of those automatic anytime touchdown bets. He's always getting in the end zone. It took him a little bit. The first game of the season, they looked terrible, and it didn't really make sense. Now they've obviously got Henry more involved, but now we have to talk about the Bucs 3-headed monster. We need this to be another matchup. It's the Bucs running backs versus Derrick Henry. What can Sean Tucker do? What can Rashad do? What can Bucky Irving do? We need to get chunk plays on the ground. You got to hope that these guys can average over 6 yards a carry like they did last game, and so we can control the clock, because the reality is we got to get this Baltimore defense tired and keep Baltimore's offense off the field. They're dangerous, and dude, this is going to be a tough game for the Bucs. They're 3.5 point dogs in this game, and we'll see where the money goes, because the refereeing sure is going to be interesting on Monday Night Football.
So 2 things on that. So to expect them to average 6 yards a carry, definitely crazy, because they are facing the number 1 rush defense in the Ravens. They only give up 59 yards a game. That's not an accident. These guys know how to stop the run. The Bucs' physical run game has come on as of late. I believe they've become the 11th or 12th rushing attack in the NFL. They've been one of the best over the last 3 weeks. So they've started to figure some things out. And that goes back to my earlier point about not forcing everything to be a zone run when your team's not blocking that well. Liam's starting to learn what these guys really do well up front to make his running backs look better and give them better chances and less blowups in the backfield. But then when you go to the other side, the Bucs rush defense has been coming on and getting better throughout the season. Of course, last week we got Kalijah Kancey back, who's going to play a massive part of this game. They've got to play really, really well in the middle, especially against that Pro Bowl center of theirs and with the Ravens, where it all starts up front. If they stop Derrick Henry, this is a completely different monster. And then back to the other side of the ball again, if the Bucs can just establish a physical presence on the line. You don't need 200 yards rushing in this game, in my opinion. If you get 100, that's a check mark. That's an A+ for this team against this Ravens. But that'll allow the Bucs to utilize play action and to take advantage of the secondary of the Ravens, who have not been good. That's been their weak point. A lot of teams bail on the run early and attack that part of it because they're not going to run against the brick wall. So that's been some of that equation. But if the Bucs in my opinion, take the same game plan they had against the Philadelphia Eagles and attack the Ravens with that, I think they'll be set up for some good success, and they'll be in a better spot because, again, they have Kalijah Cansey, they have Luke Gedeke back, they have Liam Cohen, who's playing, calling games a little bit more under his belt. I feel good about this game, but it's going to be a while. It's not going to be a 51-27 affair for sure.
I was before I go to the next segment, I just want to say that if you looked at the Ravens outside corners last game, they got absolutely torched. Their slot corner, Marlon Humphrey, did a great job, but their outside corners are very weak again. So we got to see, is Mike Evans going to be healthy? Can he contribute in this game? Because I feel like the last game against the Saints, by the way, fuck the Saints. They sucked again on last night. But if Mike Evans can be more than just a distraction and can bring something to the game, those outside corners, we can eat on them. Going to the next.
Whoa, wait. Before you go on, Chris Godwin is going to be a huge part of this game. And I think
he's probably going to be locked. He's going to be going against Marlon Humphrey, which is definitely a matchup to watch.
But that in itself creates matches for everybody else, like you just talked about. Those outside corners struggle. Mike Evans is going to play in this game. I don't care what's going on. He's earned a right to rest throughout the week. It's about getting him from week to week at this point. Not to say he's an old man or anything like that, but a hamstring is a hamstring. He'll play, and I don't think he'll be more of a decoy like he was against the Saints because he's going to have more opportunities against lesser, ill-equipped cornerbacks in this game than maybe he was against the Saints. And the Saints made it a point to bracket coverage him, take away anything that he was going to do, which opened up everything. We saw Sean Tucker score on a cover one because they decided not to cover him, but bracket Mike Evans, who wasn't even running a route. So Chris Godwin, I expect, will still be a major part of this game. Get first downs, keep these drives going. If you're going to punt after 6 plays, not after 3. That's a massive point in this game. And again, that goes to attacking that secondary, taking advantage of what those guys don't know how to do very well, and stay away from their safeties. They are very good.
So what I was going to say, our next segment is Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey need to have a huge game against the Ravens. Vita Vea could be Derrick Henry's kryptonite. I really think that could be. I don't think, Derrick Henry's faced a defensive line that can really stuff the run like we can. We are one of the best in the league, and we have been for years because Vita Vea, always, he needs to be double teamed. He takes up 2 guys. He lets other guys get free, get through the gaps, get tackles for losses. I mean, this is going to be a huge game for Vita Vea to show just how elite he is as a nose tackle. And Kalijah Cansey needs to wreak havoc. I mean, that's why we brought him in as a first-round pick. He can really disrupt games, and he can get to the quarterback as a defensive tackle.
We saw them go against the Saints last week, who, for the most part of the season, we're running the ball very, very well. Kubiak offense is a very good run offense. Alvin Kamara started off the season pretty hot. Now, we saw them take turns. Kalijah would take the doubles and Vita would eat up the running back. Then Vita would take the doubles and Kalijah would eat up the running back. We freaking suplexed Alvin Kamara in the middle of the game. It was amazing. So we faced Henry before. I don't believe Kalijah Cansey was on this team. Or maybe it was. No, I think it was last year when he was a Titan. Yeah, but he had Will Levis as his quarterback. So it's a much different scenario, different equation. But like you said, those 2 guys in the middle make it very, very tough to run against us. You're going to have to run stretch. You're going to have to take it outside against us. But then we got the speed, even with those 2 guys in that equation, that are going to be able to get after him. And in this game, just make sure you get him down. You get him down, you make them kind of take that ball out of his hands. They can't lean on that. They can't tire us out, which was happened before against the Ravens. Then you kind of force Lamar to be, the all-inclusive Lamar, and you kind of just take your chances. But you can't let Derrick Henry get off because then they lean on that and you are dead meat. But Cansey, Vita in the middle, they both technically demand doubles, JC, so they're freaks, man. And Cansey played rusty last week, and he looked fucking phenomenal. So
yeah,
I can't.
He looked great. Like I said, it looked like very clean bill of health.
Yeah, and they're all healthy, the D-line this week. Logan Hall's going to play a part in this game. Will Golson's going to have to do his job. Greg Gaines is going to be effective. Going to have to be effective when he's in the game. They're going to take him in shifts, but yeah, that starts up front with those guys, and that's why I'm a little confident about this game. I don't know about you, but if you gave me Vita and Cansey against any running back other than Barry Sanders, I'm thinking, I'm going to bet on those guys. I'm just going to bet on those guys.
The one player that really worries me in this game is KJ Britt. Lamar obviously going to be scrambling. Derrick Henry we need him to step up and not give up big plays I don't want Lamar to have 120 yards rushing against this defense. And God, please, Servasia Dennis, come back soon because we need you, buddy.
I mean, against Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews, you got KJ Britt out there. I think in this game, I believe Izzy should be playing and should be back. Now you'll be able to see Todd Bowles kind of reach into that dime package a little bit more. Maybe most of the game, you'll have the ability to play Izzy, Tyke Smith, Zion McCollum, Funderburk, Antoine, and Jordan on the field at the exact same time. And now you got a guy in Jordan Whitehead who could play spy. He could play linebacker. You got Tyke, who's already proven as a rookie. He could play backer. You got, obviously, Antoine, who could do almost anything you ask him to do. And then Izzy, who also is pretty stout, could possibly be that guy that's in the box, or you put him back, up top at safety. You could trust him back there. Then you got all these guys up in the middle that can not only focus on Derrick Henry, because if you know anything about Todd Bowles' defense, he actually blitzes to stop the run before the pass, but he'll be able to kind of contain and curtail Lamar Jackson with a spy. I would not be surprised if Jordan Whitehead is the spy throughout this game, or even Tyke Smith, who's already kind of hovering on the line of scrimmage a lot. He's corner blitzing a lot. He's blitzing as a backer in that run coverage, but we're going to need Levante to also play really well in against those tight ends in the middle of the field. As long as they don't isolate KJ Britt on Isaiah Likely, I think we're going to do okay. And again, get in the middle. Get in the middle of Lamar's lap. Rush him up the middle, make him uncomfortable. He's like any other quarterback. He doesn't like pressure at his knees, at his hips, up in the face. So that's how really I think it. But again, it starts like you said, Vita, Cansey, gotta be monsters.
Vita and
in the
Cansey, yeah,
gotta be monsters.
Yeah, they gotta control that line of scrimmage. Before we go to the keys to the game, did you see Baker's press conference talking about Mark Andrews, like best friends, but Mark Andrews is just a weirdo and doesn't even talk to his best friend the whole NFL season.
It was weird.
I'm interested to see the interactions they have, one before the game, but maybe after the game. They're obviously going to embrace and talk to each other. But that's how the NFL goes, man. You got these friends, but then everyone's at the end of the day, if you're a killer, you're not going to be talking to your friends because you want to win the game, baby.
Well, Baker was saying that Andrew doesn't talk to him because he can't separate football from friendship anymore. But then he also blamed it on his girlfriend, which I thought was kind of like a shot at the girlfriend, maybe. I don't know, but it was funny. Yeah, dude, Baker's such a guy right now. He's so fucking popular. He's having fun. He's making jokes. Like, I can't wait for the Raymond James insurance commercials when he's living at Ray J. That's going to be phenomenal shit, dude.
The pirate ship?
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Coffee on the pirate ship, dude? Come on. How are we not doing that yet?
It really doesn't. The commercials and stuff don't bother me. I like them personally. I think it's cool. It brings like awareness to the Bucs and puts the Bucs on a bigger stage, like when Brady was here. But dude, he's hilarious in these commercials. I mean, the Bud Light thing. You saw that, right? He's just like
Baker is a natural.
I kind of like it.
Baker's a natural talent on camera and mic, dude. Like you can see, he's got a future doing stuff like that after football.
Oh, definitely.
And it's very natural for him. Last year during Super Bowl Row, he was going around doing his rounds, and I think he was representing AutoZone or Advanced Auto. He's talking about the batteries. It was like the most effortless pitch you'd ever hear, dude. It was natural.
Yeah, but if you
it was amazing.
If you look at his career arc, he started with these huge commercials. Like he was in like 5 different commercials. Then it goes to the Carolina days, and then he starts doing like AutoZone, and now he's back to Bud Light trying to rescue their brand and get masculinity back towards it. But keys to the game, Sammer. Keys to the game. I'll go first. It's pretty obvious. Contain Lamar Jackson and contain Derrick Henry. You got to keep these guys from having a monster game. Otherwise, like I said, this could be a shootout. We're going to have to go back and forth with these guys if we can't contain them.
That's your only key to the game?
No, that's my first one. I was going to let you throw one out there.
Okay. My first key of the game, tackle, tackle, tackle. In the 2 games that really, really hurt my feelings this year, we did not tackle the ball well, the ball carrier well. We were bouncing off guys. It was a little bit of effort. It was a little bit of bad angles, a little bit of, being swift of foot, being there at the right time. In this game, you got to tackle these guys right. And when I say, it's a tall task against a guy like Henry, but we've proven that we can tackle any running back and we can stop the run. And then Lamar Jackson, when he escapes the pocket, you got to get him down. Anthony Nelson, you can't get juked out of your pants again in this one. KJ Britt, take a good angle, please, for the love of God. Levante, we're going to have you, take that calendar back a couple of years and tackle young crazy Levante used to. And of course, those outside corners are going to have to step up big on that edge too. Zion McCollum's proven he could tackle. He's going to have to continue to do that in this game. Tackle, tackle, tackle.
Zion McCollum can definitely tackle. That guy.
From what he used to not know how to.
Wood. Yeah, he used to. And when he made that quote, I think it was his last year on our show when he said like he just learned how to tackle, and I was like, what?
Yeah, but, you could tell. You could tell his rookie year. He had no idea. Hey, listen, he came from same Houston State. Okay, don't get me wrong. I love those guys, but
he wasn't coached up quite like they are now back then.
Correct. That's correct. We have a good program now.
So, second key to the game for me is forced turnovers. I'm looking at three guys. I'm looking at Antoine Winfield. I'm looking at Zion McCollum, and I'm looking at Tyke Smith. Those three guys need to force a turnover in this game or force multiple turnovers. I think those three guys are key for us to beat this team because, I'm kind of expecting high scoring, and sometimes you need that game-changing turnover by one of these dudes that really changes and swings the momentum to the Bucs side and gives the Bucs, the confidence to really take over this game.
Yeah, second key for me is the war in the trenches on both sides. On defense and on offense, we've just got to be physical and not let them overpower us. I'm not expecting us to run for 200 yards, like I said, but I expect us to maintain our responsibilities and our integrity on the line of scrimmage as an offensive line, which has come on as of recently. I mean, AQ Shipley highlighted us this past week as a top 3 offensive line in the NFL last week. So I expect that to be the standard moving forward. And then on the defensive side, Vita, Cansey, Logan Hall, Will Golston, you guys got to do your job and not allow their line to go off on us. If we win the war in the trenches, I feel like we have a really good shot at this game. And then, like you said, that kind of goes in with your key where you're able to, create turnovers, play sound defense in the red zone, hold them out of the end zone. You're not going to really stop a team like this, but you got to figure out ways to slow them down and figure out ways to steal the ball from them. And if you can control the line of scrimmage, that's usually when good things start happening for the guys behind you. You make your job easier. For the secondary, it's going to be up front for me. It's got to start from there. It's cliche as hell, but you got to win it up front, man.
This is not my key, but this is an interesting point I wanted to bring up. Your guy, Bobby Hennessy, it looks like Graham Barton is going to be back starting at center. So it could be interesting to watch how Barton plays compared to Bobby Hennessy's game last week. This is obviously Robert Hainsey we're talking about. Hainsey played great last week. So Barton, there's a little bit of fire under him, first round pick rookie center, obviously dealing with some injuries, but he's got to show that he's just as good and should be way more capable and a better player than Robert Hainsey. Barton was, like I said, drafted in the first round, graded the most athletic offensive lineman in combine history. He's got big shoes, like not big shoes, but he's got to prove his potential that he's.
Oh, I was gonna say it starts up here.
You're calling like an audible or something.
No, I am. No, I'm doing Peyton Manning. No, it starts up here for him. And when I say that, I'm not saying he's slow or he's not IQ wise. It's about he's technically learning every single week on the job. So he's going to see stuff that he hasn't seen. He's even if you've seen it on tape, you're still reacting to it. I think him having sat a game because of injury or whatever, obviously it was because of injury, helps him because now he can kind of step back and watch someone else do it and be like, oh man, look, he's actually coming out a lot sooner. He's stepping back and letting these guys do their thing in front of him as opposed to them running the stunts next to him. That's a lot different. Can't block guys on your shoulders compared to in front of you. He's more capable of becoming a ridiculous center, an all-pro guy for years to come in the league. Sitting back on the sideline may have helped him this week. And I think they need his physical presence over a guy like Hainsey, but Hainsey played his ass off last week, and he deserved the credit for that. But I think maybe he was able to show this young guy a little bit of, hey, technique-wise, this is kind of what you should be doing, and this is how it works. And I guarantee you Liam and the boys in the film room have been like, look what Hainsey's doing here. This is what we need you to do. And this is how we know you can do it. That helps.
And last week was an obvious it was very obvious why Robert Hainsey's the backup center and that why he was not filling in at right tackle when Godecki was out, because he is so valuable as a backup center and you have to have one. You can't just that's so bad. It's almost like a sixth starter because snapping the ball to your quarterback is crucial, and that's why he didn't get any playing time at right tackle. He will always be that backup to Barton.
Think about this, JC. You lose a starting center in the league, and you get to slide a guy in who played with Baker, understands what Baker likes, knows how to snap the ball, has experience in the league as a starter. We didn't look like we even had a missing starter on the offensive line last week. Whereas Luke Gedeke,
game of the year.
Luke Gedeke goes out and you're like, damn, they don't have a right tackle on this team. Yeah, it was pretty obvious. So that's a massive part of it. It sucks that he's, the backup in a contract year for him. But, we should take advantage of it and be happy and be blessed that we have a guy like that on this team right now who's willing to be that, backup type of guy.
My last key to the game is, so Todd Bowles has said, getting interviewed, we're going to go with a hot hand at running back. I want Todd to stick to his word. Nothing against Rachaad White. Stick to the hot hands. Start the game out. Sean Tucker, Bucky Irving taking the first carry of the game. Work Rachaad in there, but I want him to stay true to his word that he's going to stick with the hot hand, because we clearly saw some hot hands last week in that game, and they deserve the majority of the carries until proved otherwise.
I think he meant we're going to go with the hot hand game to game. That's what I think he actually meant. I think he means we're going to go in and see who's hot after, I don't know, which again, it doesn't really make sense to me. You have three guys. If you call 10 run plays, you're going to base it on 3 carries apiece. Who's the hot guy? No. Regardless of who, it's not really very fair. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. It might be a little bit of coach speak, but I like the idea. I don't know who pitched it out there of using Rachaad and Bucky to start the game and Sean Tucker in the third and fourth quarter to kind of seal it off because he's so physical and I don't know. They got to figure out a way to do it. I don't like changing running backs every other possession and shit like that. That doesn't give any one of those guys a fair chance to get lathered up. They got to figure it out. It's a good problem to have, but it could also become a bad problem to have, because then you're kind of working against yourself and trying to make, it's just figure it out. I agree with you. You got to run the ball. So whoever's doing it in that moment, just go. If that guy's running hot, you keep that guy in. Don't take him out just to take him out, like we've seen.
We're talking about Sean Tucker winning NFL Offensive Player of the Week. Talking about the hot hand. The guy won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. I think he's pretty hot. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know.
No, that's all. I'm saying that they're gonna go. I think the way Todd said it is he's gonna go game to game. Who's hot in that game? But Tucker has definitely earned himself a chance to show that wasn't a fluke and to show that he belongs and he's gonna get more carries. But I would love to see him be that guy at third, fourth quarter, just seal it away, because he's so physically built for that, and he's fast and he's athletic. And I don't know how it works. I don't know if they lean into pass pro and things like that. Bucky's deserve to play more. They all deserve to play it, honestly. It's just been it'll be weird to see how it works. But in a game like this, you kind of need all three with how physical the Saints are, or not the Saints, the Ravens are. Is my turn for my third key here?
Third key. Your turn. Sorry, I got some workers walking through the room.
Yeah, it's all good. Start fast, man. Start fast on offense. If you win that coin toss, receive the ball like we did last week, go in there, punch it into the end zone, and put the pressure right back on the visiting team. Having to come out there down 7-0 is a different ball game than down 3-0 or tied 0-0 after a 3-and-out or, a couple of plays and a punt. Go out there, score first, put that pedal to the metal, and Liam Cohen just keep it going. Keep it going. We're running the score up 51 points last week. I love Sean Tucker not going out of bounds or sliding, taking the touchdown. Keep it up. Let's start where we started there. And to that note, called a lot of wide receiver screens last week. Called a lot of short passes to these guys in the flats. That's on tape, and I guarantee you Liam is setting the Ravens up to think that's their go-to, that's their bread and butter. Look for some passes over the top on a couple of those fakes. Maybe Chris Godwin getting open over the top on some of that. That's going to be fun. Or maybe a leak out of, Mike Evans out of the bunch, making it look like it's a wide receiver screen. Next thing you know, he's flying down the middle of the field. We saw it against the Falcons. Should see it again against the Ravens.
So, Bucs, Ravens, like I said, Buccaneers 3.5-point underdogs. If Bucs win this game, they go to 5-2, and then 49ers. And then if they drop this game, 4-3 going to 49ers. It's a pretty crucial game to get a W here as far as moving forward for the season and trying to secure first place or even a bye in the playoffs. Samer, I have, unfortunately, something I need to go to, so we're going to have to end this a little early compared to normal. But shoot your prediction. What's your prediction for this game? Give us the score.
31-27 Bucs. I think a turnover ends up sealing the deal, and the Bucs get a chance with a 4-minute offense to right the wrong of the Atlanta Falcons game and seal the win on offense, knees on the ground. Greatest formation in all of football, victory formation. 31-27 Bucs.
I'm going to go 42-38 Buccaneers in an absolute shootout.
Barn burner. Holy shit.
I'm talking lots and lots of points by these offenses. But yeah, this, and also guys, this is first home game since the hurricane I just got back to Florida. Driving through the streets of Sarasota, it looks like a war zone, man. It is going to take a long time to get this place back looking to normal. Hopefully the Bucs understand the importance of fans filling up this stadium with what everyone's going through. And this stadium should be packed and loud. And I think this could be as loud as that, last season's playoff game against the Eagles. That was electric. We were together for that game. I see a similar atmosphere for this Bucs Ravens game. This is going to be fun.
Hopefully. Hey, while we're talking about fans, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the new channel here. Make sure you hit like on this video. And of course, leave us your score predictions, your keys to the game in the comment section below. And browse through the site, man. Browse through the channel. Check out Inside the 813. Yarko and Rock do a phenomenal job, going through 3 segments every single week in, week out, about the opponent and the opponent we just faced. So make sure you guys hit that like button and that subscribe button, and check out the website, www.the813.tv. JC, Monday Night Football, Raymond James Stadium, Lamar Jackson, battle for the MVP trophy. It's coming, baby. It's coming.
Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.